welcome in Sarah. Let me bring her in. I'm super excited to see her. I love her. She's amazing. There you are!
Hello!
I'm so excited you're here. Let me change this setup. I don't like this setup.
I've never even seen this platform.
I know. We had to learn this like yesterday.
No
And
time present.
we're still trying to learn it. It's kind of crazy. But let me put my disclaimer in just so that people know that anything we say. Hold on, how do I do this? I usually like last night when we did this, I had help. There we go. And so I'm doing the solo because they have to work, right?
Yeah.
By the way, you're so pretty. I love you. I love your stuff. I love all the work you're doing to expose this. I know it's very hard, but I would love people to know who you are. It was funny on Facebook. They're all like, "Who's Sarah? Sarah who? Sarah who?" I'm like, just stay and watch. She's coming.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have Facebook, and I know so much of the work is happening on Facebook, and I should probably get that platform, but I just...
You should.
I know. My name's Sarah Goebel. I actually have, I guess, a unique way into this fight. I don't know what, Meg, you've said about my story, if I should just start from the beginning of...
We've had a lot of people that are married go. I just had a woman last night on. Her and her husband lost their children 3 same way.
Okay.
They're still fighting. So you know this. Your story is, you didn't realize how many more people are struggling. So yes, please tell your story. All I've told them is you're a wonderful married couple, and even if they didn't go to family court, but they still lost their children. Because I want everyone to realize right now in our country, all our children can be gone like that.
Yeah. I think like the caveat is to say, before all of this, before we were involved in this, I probably was one of those people that like, well, if the court says to take the kids, obviously there's
something
a reason.
Had to happen.
100%. And so what happened in our situation is back October of 2024, I had just given birth in July. We had a new baby. I have a 10-year-old too, but we had a new baby in the house, and he had a moment where he wasn't eating very well, which is very abnormal for my son because he's huge and loves to eat. And so we went back and forth, like trying to feed him for hours and couldn't. And so we took him to an ER very close to us, and they did a full...
Children's Mercy, right? Oh no, an ER. This is before Children's Mercy.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is proof that you were trying to help your baby.
Right. Okay. Yeah. This first, like 4 a.m., we run him to a local ER in our neighborhood. They do a chest x-ray, tell us literally he just has gas in his belly and to go home. And so we were like, okay, great. I mean, I happen to be I'm like medically sensitive. I'm always a worry wart. But at that time we got the pediatrician on the phone too. And she's like, Sarah, your child just has like a viral infection. Give him saline spray at the nose, put him in a warm, steamy room, and you're fine. And so we did all of these things from like 4
This is my second child. It's not my first. I'm not stupid.
Well, exactly. But it'd been so long that I still was very nervous. I mean,
well, you do what you're supposed to do. You take him to the doctor.
Right. Exactly. Right. And we have a great pediatrician. She's very like, I don't know. She doesn't go overboard on giving medication unless she absolutely has to. So eventually we tried to give my son some Tylenol. She said, give him a little bit of Tylenol. And I've caught a lot of flack because they're like, you don't give infants Tylenol. And I was like, well, the pediatrician said we could give him a little bit. So we did, and he choked on it. He stopped breathing for a little bit, and that just freaked us both out. So she said, go to Children's Mercy, because I could send you anywhere, but they're going to send you to Children's Mercy because they're the only children's hospital around here. So we did. We ran straight to this hospital, told them our story. And I'm pretty sure now, knowing what we know, they must have seen the x-ray from the urgent care we went to, and they had already hotlined us because we got...
Wow.
Yeah. We got in there and told him the story. My son had a 100, so it wasn't huge, but it was like 100 temp.
But I mean, it's 3 months old. Right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so it wasn't nothing. I mean, it all now points
that there's something with an infection.
He had an infection, and that's why he couldn't swallow. His throat hurt. But apparently, the x-ray at St. Luke's, the ER that we went to, showed a rib fracture, which they didn't tell us. Nobody told us this. Obviously,
So you're talking about the x-ray that was done at the other urgent care.
the urgent care.
They didn't say there was a rib fracture. Then you take them to Children's Mercy, and you said you think you already looked at it and hotlined it. They said there's a rib fracture.
Right. They hotlined immediately, but I think this is where it was crazy because they didn't tell us that there was a rib fracture. They said, we need to take him. Well, I said, I want a throat scope. I want an MRI. Like I wanted everything done because I wanted to make sure he was okay. And they were like, yeah, we'll put him in a full body scan, right? Which is what they have, a scan team. It's their child abuse services. We didn't know at the time that they were involved in this already.
So you mean that they were there and you didn't know who they were? They didn't identify themselves?
Right. We didn't know until
so you just saw these people and you didn't know who they were. They didn't.
Right. They were weighing in the background. Okay. So they weren't even presenting.
They're all talking behind your back. Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the craziest part too is they hotlined us because of this rib fracture, which I understand. If a baby comes in with a rib fracture, then you should look deeper into that. But then what they do is they put children through a full body scan. And what they're doing at this stage is looking for any underlying other signs of abuse. And they came back to us and we still didn't even know about the rib fracture at this point, but they sit us down in a room and I genuinely thought that they were about to tell me that my son had cancer because they were
I bet you did.
They were like, we have some really hard news to share with you. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. I can't imagine your heart.
Oh, I just almost lost it. And they were like, we found several fractures in your son's body. And I obviously freaked out again too, just immediately started crying. And there was a note in their files like, mom acts inappropriately to this news. It's like, of course. But I freaked out at that point because we had recently hired someone new to nanny in our home. And I was like, oh my gosh, this woman has been hurting our son behind our back.
Oh, I can't imagine. Yeah.
So then I was freaking out, but never once, I guess, did I realize they were looking at us. Like they had immediately just assumed.
Yeah, because your brain's like, oh my gosh, I'm the one that created this because I hired this nanny, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And at the same time, they were like, you.
And they had already, I mean, at that point, I'm assuming now, and this is allegedly, this is assuming, I can only go off of what I know and what I've seen in the files, that the minute they saw the rib fracture is when they decided that we were abusing our son. And there was no other checks and balances done.
They made their decision. They decided it. It's done. Deal. You're screwed.
Exactly. And so here I am. I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody's been hurting our son. Like, I will do whatever you need. You want me to talk to the police? You want me to talk to DCF? I'll do whatever. Cause I know we didn't do this. Like I'm a helicopter mom. I have a hard enough time leaving just anybody alone with my son. So I was like,
I mean, look at the plants behind you. You love to keep things alive.
I like keeping things alive. Exactly. I
keep plants alive.
Right?
I love your plant, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you. Like it offers a nice backdrop.
I love it. That's what I'm saying. But look at you. Like it just blows my mind. People don't realize this can happen to anybody.
Well, that's the thing that's crazy. And I know like this is always a shot to the ego, but sitting in that hospital and we were in there for a week. They held us in for a week. They didn't treat my son for one thing. I think I said this, but they said his body was full of fractures. I think they had like 14 injuries pointed out at one point in time that we've now basically disproven all of them. They read his scans wrong or intentionally lied to make it seem worse.
I think they intentionally lied because that doctor even needs to be sued.
Yeah. And so
a whole week you sat there in the hospital.
And it was just so that they could case build against us, right? They were listening to the conversation. Right. They were charging. Well, here's the other thing, crazy, Meg, is that we've kind of uncovered on the Missouri side, because, Children's Mercy sits Kansas, Missouri.
Yeah.
On the Missouri side, mind you, the head of this scan department, the very tippity top head of it, he also sits on a board in Missouri that decides how much money all of the hospitals in Missouri are going to get for their child abuse specialties. Okay. So tell me that that's not a conflict of interest.
That is crazy.
Second is when you look at the grant paper, like the funding paperwork, because on the Missouri side, this hospital gets funded by a government grant to do the work. So once a hotline is triggered and they go into their review, case building, they cannot use private insurance, Medicaid, nothing. to do the work. Doctors cannot charge your private insurance at all, or Medicaid. But what we're finding out, looking at our bills, the families that have gone through this, is that they are charging the government grant and they're charging private insurance. And these bills, you can imagine what a bill after a week in that hospital racked up to be. And not to mention, like, I walked into that hospital without insurance because we can't afford, I mean, insurance for a family of 4 is insane.
Outrageous.
Through my job. And so we pay everything out of pocket because what we find is it's just cheaper. Honestly, it's cheaper to pay out of pocket. And so the minute we got in there, they also, like, the day we were in there, started trying to sign my son up for Medicaid so that they definitely had something to bill. And so that's just like some of it. Okay, so sorry, I'm getting off track. Basically, we spent a week in there. They never looked for anything. They didn't even run a basic vitamin D panel. And I don't know how much you know about bones, but
yeah, that needed to be looked at.
Like, that's the number one thing you do first is what's the vitamin D level look like?
What's going on? Like, if there is, like who had immune something wrong, born with a disease. Yeah.
Right. They didn't look for any kind of genetic causation.
They just said abuse.
Yeah. Exactly. And then from that point, it was everything that was on my son was abuse. So to the point where he has a stork bite he was born with on the back of his head, they tried to say that that was abuse. He had stork bites that he was born with, still has them in the corner of his eyes, abuse. Like, every single mark on his skin, because he's got very sensitive skin, we now know probably linked to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. They were trying to say that it was bruises and abuse. And it was insane. It was like, once they had done it, then they have to prove, like, overabundance, that we are just
to cover their butts.
Exactly.
And that's what they do. And especially in my situation as well, the judge, I know if I go to finally have trial, he'll still say that, I did all this stuff wrong because he has to cover his own rear now. Because he took my kids away. Right. They're covering their rear because they're like, oh, we can get in trouble for this. So they'll make up anything more and it'll just keep growing like it is.
Well, see, and that's, we have to, like, pause this topic because I've been finding something else recently that we need to jump into. But essentially, after that was done, this is a huge debate on my social media platforms. After a mandated reporter hits abuse, then everybody says, well, then it's DCF's job to do an investigation, right? Okay, well, I don't know how many people have dealt with DCF, but they're not investigators. And the people who call themselves investigators, that's a joke. Like, to call themselves investigators is laughable because this woman assigned to our case,
they're usually like right out of college, no experience, 25, 24. Oh yeah, I've met a lot of them. Mm-hmm.
And they know nothing about medical. Like, these people have no idea how to talk about medical.
And they have more rights with our children than we do.
Right. So this woman that they bring in, she just decides, obviously, like, the doctor said it was abuse. She's going to say it's abuse. So she just wrote up a petition for court that she told us we were going to 24 hours before we went. And it was literally just the notes from the doctor. She did a Sunflower House interview with my daughter, which came back swimmingly. My daughter said, my parents have only taken my iPad when they're mad at me. Like, no signs of abuse. They talked to her teachers, no signs of abuse. Like, this is a happy, thriving child. She was 9 at the time, mind you. So she can also talk very eloquently by herself.
Yeah, right.
And they told her they believed her. They said she did a good job. And we went to court. The judge only sees the petition that this DCF person writes up. And within 10 minutes, took both of my children. We had no chance. I didn't even know what to expect. I honestly, up until that point, still thought that due process was something that existed, that we were going to have, that my lawyer would step in and say, wait just a second, because we had 2 initial emails from someone who I had sent pictures of my son's scans that said it looks like he has rickets. My lawyer didn't even raise his hand to bring it up. Like, wait just a second. I think.
And how much did you pay a retainer for that, a lawyer?
It was not much. And the sad part about it is I have never been in trouble with the law. So I didn't know what to look for in a lawyer. Right. And I had 24 hours. So we were just Hail Mary, like, trying to find a lawyer. And he told me after we were done, that petition was pretty bad. And usually the people I represent actually do this to their children. So it's like, oh, okay.
So he didn't believe you?
Probably not.
Had you seen the Sunflower forensic interview?
No, we still haven't seen any of it. They still haven't released anything.
Okay, I want everyone to realize right now on all platforms, TikTok, everywhere, the craziest thing about Sarah and I is I would love it if you and I go get a picture in front of the courthouse together.
Yeah.
Because it was funny the other day. I said something about crying out after my kids were taken, and you said I did the same thing.
Yeah.
And when I lost mine, the same thing as you. It was like literally, where's due process? No one even asked me if these accusations were true or not. No one has, and they just took my kids. And I know you know that pain, and I'm so thankful you got them back. But how many other of us are there just in our county that have hyperventilated and cried? I mean, I was on the ground just screaming.
Same.
My mom was right there, and I was just like, "What?" And I had an attorney, and that attorney did nothing. My mom paid $10,000 for a retainer, nothing. And I don't know if you know this too. After me learning the law so much, is that they have 14 days to appeal that or challenge it. Yeah, attorneys have that, but they didn't. They don't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's 14 days law statutes that you can have 14 days to counter back and say, nope, we appeal it. Let's keep talking about this. And why did that attorney not do that for me? Why did it for you?
Well, so, yeah. And he disgustingly, like, as I'm having a nervous breakdown, right? In the courthouse and in the parking lot, he's like, well, I wanted to talk to you, but it seemed like you were having an emotional moment. And I was just disgusted.
Was your husband there? Was your husband saying anything?
He didn't, because I think he's one of those, as the man in the situation, in many.
Well, he's shocked too. I mean,
shocked. And I think immediately they were trying to pin something on him. And so he was in a very torn place of like, how much emotion do I show? Because if I'm overly mad, they're going to say I'm aggressive.
Right.
If I'm not mad enough, they're going to say
you're screwed either way. You know, if you didn't cry, then they're said, oh, you really were abusing, but then you do cry, and then, oh, you're too emotional.
Right. And I think he was worried about me because I'm having like a full-on death panic attack. But I could not believe that in this country where I've been sold since I could repeat the Pledge of Allegiance, you know, that we have these certain constitutional rights that are supposed to protect us from government overreach, that I had just gone from being a terrified mother who ran her child not only to one ER, but then to talk to a pediatrician and then to another ER. Nobody used critical thinking skills to say, oh, these parents are obviously scared for their children. Mm-hmm. And a judge just
care for the children,
took them, passed them through 3 different homes in a single month because nobody could long-term keep both of my kids. Wouldn't let my mom have the kids because they said the DCF, horrible human, kept saying that she was coaching my daughter because her story was too close to ours, because apparently the truth doesn't exist in the world in which we work. And
didn't you say one time that the person, the foster family that came picked up your son, didn't even know how to put the car seat in the car?
Foster family. So in Kansas, right? Like DCF contracts with KVC to be the middleman.
I'm suing KVC next, just so you know.
I know. And I'm hearing there's like little I can say right now because we are.
Yeah, I know they were pretty nice to you.
Litigation. And KVC was honestly one of the only things that saved us. I know we're lucky now talking.
Well, it's really the person. That's the thing, too. It's not the company. It's the person.
Well, yeah. And we got so lucky that the first girl was great. That's the thing. She was the first person in our home. And I think the minute you walk in our home and you see like my daughter's bedroom, and it's like the bedroom of a very happy little girl, and my son's, you know, his nursery.
Right.
I don't know. It's just very obvious when you spend time with us. And
so your children were taken for 3 months, you said?
6.
6 months. And your daughter was 9 at the time.
She's 10 now. And yeah.
Like that. I mean, your son, that was horrible, especially for you, but he won't remember it, right? But
I don't know.
Your daughter will remember. Daughter.
Then there's fallout. I mean, we see little signs every single day. Yesterday was a perfect example, actually. We were eating chili and like there were some chips on top, and my son eats anything. He's an endless pit. He's 13 months old now. And like one of the little chips got stuck in his throat, and he was kind of coughing and gagging, and she like had a full on PTSD, just started crying. And every time he like cries a little bit, she is like, oh no, it's going to happen again. They're going to take us again.
Oh my gosh, that is horrible.
It's awful. And it's gross enough that like things that every time somebody asked the DA on our case, like, what about Sawyer? Like there is they said even in our petition, no evidence of abuse. And yet they lumped her in with us. And the DA said, she'll get over it.
The district attorney?
She'll get over it.
Can't stand our district attorney. So out of all of this, how much money have you spent? Because didn't they?
So after going through 2 terrible lawyers, we had finally some success finding a criminal defense attorney. I would say my recommendation is stay away from family court lawyers in general. My husband does have a family court lawyer, and she's been good because of connections, I will say. But I would never tell someone going through this to get a family court lawyer. My criminal defense attorney was great, very expensive. In total, we've spent between 60 and 70 grand. I know we're actually pretty lucky because people have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And this is all because and this is not even including the bills from the hospital.
Well, I'm not paying any of those.
Good girl, not.
No.
Good girl, do not. But this is all just because you took your son, 3-month-old son, to the hospital.
Right.
And I think that is where I love that you and I are opposite spectrums of this, because I was in Children's Mercy with my son when he was 4 months old with RSV.
Yeah.
And, it could have happened to me then.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. Right. And so at the end of the day, what did you get? You got a second opinion about your son's fractures.
So that was a lucky circumstance. That's another thing that costs families in this a ton of money is you have to pay to get second opinions, right? And so you have to pay to travel them out here to give the second opinions. Luckily, because of just people I knew, we got a great second opinion. She's someone who does it because she knows the corruption that lives within these children's hospitals. And so she did it for free. But she negated almost every single one of the findings from Children's Mercy. We had another person weigh in that it looked like my son did have a mark in the back of his throat. They tried to say that it was my husband sticking his fingernail in the back of his throat to cut him. But it was a viral ulcer because there were multiple signs that my son had a virus at the time. We have another expert weighing in. I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos, we know now. And that's hereditary.
What is that?
Ehlers-Danlos is a collagen, like connective tissue disorder. And so all my life, I've been an athlete, right? And I've had weird, like joint dislocations, hip, knees. And nobody ever was like, why is this young kid having dislocations all the time? We'll come to find out, in my
disorder, yeah.
Diagnosed with this disorder. In infants, that can look like two rubbing together, that there's a fracture, when in reality, it's just like bone growth at the end.
Right. That's when the first thing I heard, I was like, I bet you there's something.
Yes. Well, yeah. And then my son has craniosynostosis, which means his anterior fontanelle closed too early. Children's Mercy did not catch that. They did not even look for it. It is connected to rapid growth. And my son was rapidly growing in utero. Bottom line, we could sit here and go through the medical files. There was a billion things that pointed to my son having underlying medical conditions that nobody ever looked into. I think the craziest part, and this is like the good segue into just corruption and money in this, is now I'm on TikTok and Instagram. And after taking our story, I've started receiving thousands.
Oh, you had one video that you and I posted all the comments. I couldn't believe it.
Right. So that was like one of the first where I just put it out there, what had happened to us, and multiple thousands of comments like, it happened to me too, or happened to somebody I know. The craziest part too is it happened at the same hospital. Like almost all of them are like, this happened to me at the same hospital.
I know. I couldn't believe when I saw that. I was like, Children's Mercy. Yes. I'm like, holy crap. I thought it was like national. I knew it was bad, but no, that was real bad for that hospital.
I was shocked reading through all of those. And I was sending it to my lawyer. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to look at this. I was sending him to the journalists that I've been working with doing these stories. I'm like, this is big. This is way bigger than us, I think, than we ever knew.
What'd they say?
I mean, unfortunately, like the things we can do is a class action lawsuit if we could find a lawyer brave enough to do it. And when you do find even a lawyer, which we have not had success, the families that I'm talking to that are wanting to pursue that in finding a lawyer, because Children's Mercy owns, like most of Kansas and Missouri.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So finding a lawyer to take that on is hard, but then finding families who are willing to be vulnerable enough to like share their stories multiple times, you have to, like they've gotten their kids back now after this and they're scared that they're going to.
That's exactly why, yes, people, if I ever got my kids back, I will not stop until this is fixed. But yeah, once you get your kids back, it's like, you don't want to live through that pain again. It's emotional, and you don't want to risk them coming to get their kids again. So you're stuck. You're gagged.
That's 100%. And it's gagged by intimidation. It really is what it is.
That's what I don't get. Like, everyone's like, oh yeah, you're gagged in family court. No, buddy. Like, you guys, like, they get mad if you speak out. Have you had any retaliation of you speaking out?
No. And I'm kind of surprised, which is also why I'm not going to be in front of the Johnson County Courthouse doing this protest, because I've basically been told stay away right now, because until September 29th, they still have custody of my children. So they're
that's the other crazy thing. You got your kids back, but they're still maintaining custody. But so they're still getting paychecks on your kids every month.
Oh, every month. And they have like their findings are substantiated. They don't think we abused them, but somebody abused our child, and they're trying to get us for child neglect.
So now they changed it to that?
Yes, child neglect is what they're trying to get us for.
Oh, okay. Because you let people abuse your kids.
Because we ran them to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
That's very neglectful. So that's something I'm constantly like, I am a squeaky wheel and emailing legislators like every week, like, tell me how it's okay that the family court judge has agreed to drop our case completely, but DCF is going to hold on to custody. Like, that seems sketchy. But
I can't stand DCF's Mark Albrum, the attorney. I've dealt with him a lot. I was
heard of one.
He's the head attorney.
Okay, because the attorney that was on our case that we've been literally meeting with for the past 3 months or so just quit.
Who is it?
His name was Nick. I don't even know his last name.
I work with the big guy, Mark.
Yeah, he just quit, and now we have a new attorney that I'm sure it's going to take multiple months to get him.
No, I'm saying DCF's attorney.
Yeah.
Oh, are you on the Missouri or Kansas side, DCF?
I'm on Kansas.
Oh, well, they must have a peons, because the Mark's a big one, which is good, because that means they're screwed, because they're not putting the big guy on. They're not scared enough because they know you're going to win.
Well, I think that's kind of like the crossroads that we're at right now. We have presented so much evidence showing that the proper medical attention was not paid to our child. Like, he actually has conditions that we are taking care of now that nobody looked into, that the DCF caseworker investigator on this never did an investigation, and she lied in our petition to make it even seem worse than it actually was.
What's her name? Can you share her name?
I better not.
So that's fine. I get it.
Yeah.
My situation's sad because Michelle, my girl on my DCF, she like interviewed my kids before they were taken. I posted some of the recording. She talked to my kids and she told the GAL that all these accusations are horribly wrong, not true. Like, the kids were very healthy. They love their mother, but the DCF worker even stated, I fear for the kids' mental brains when they're with their father.
Yeah.
And then told the GAL, and then family court still took my kids away. And then I finally get a hold of my DCF, and she tells me all this stuff, and I'm bawling, going, thank you. Finally, somebody, and my kids even came back from school and said, Mom, this amazing social person came. We liked her a lot. And then they were like, are they going to tell my dad and my therapist what we said? Because, I have audio of my children getting in the car crying from school, saying, Dad's making us lie about you. And if we don't, we get in trouble. So anyway, but in my case, I felt bad because this woman tried her hardest. She couldn't believe why they didn't close the case. Well, because the GAL got involved with her manager at DCF, and they kept it open. They didn't want the documents to come out that it was unsubstantiated. I didn't do anything wrong. So they held on to that for a whole year. I didn't get my letter. And so now when I'm suing them in federal court, and I felt bad because I had to put Michelle on there, the woman.
Yeah.
But the only violation she did was let her supervisor do this. Her supervisor really did all this, but I feel bad for the girl and hug her. I'm like, I'm so sorry I had to though, because I had to put her as a violation as not standing up, but she couldn't, but
her hands
that's where it all entangles. They all call each other. They all work together. The hospitals, the doctors, the nurses, DCF, right?
I think that's a crazy part too about what I've been receiving online when I do these stories. Like the comments that I get from CPS and DCF workers, and the comments that I get from cops, and the comments that I get from therapists and lawyers, etc., all say the same thing. Like, I would never take my own children to this hospital. Like, it's like, why isn't that the thing? Like, period. That's it. Why are all these people saying this? Like, that's a problem.
Well, and I think that no one really understands. So my doctor just said this the other day. I went there and she could not believe everything that happened. She's known me and my kids for years. We're pretty close. And I went to the doctor for a checkup and she goes, Megan, I know your story. I've seen your story. It's crazy. She's been so amazing for me. But she goes, I just had a colleague in Johnson County that's a doctor, lost her kids. And she's like, I have 2 clients too. And then I told her about you. And she goes, and she's got a 9-year-old son, and she was like, holy nollies. I said, yeah, it's gotten really bad.
Well, this is the perfect segue, Meg, into now and this is where truth always seems stranger than fiction, I think. But as people are sending me these stories and I'm reading them online, it's like, oh my gosh, there is a red thread that I'm starting to notice in all of these. And it's parents who run their children to this hospital, and then the hospital either can't diagnose or figure out what's wrong because they don't have the skill or capacity or you name it, or they've messed up in some way. And many of them are, for example, I'm talking to a mom, won't share her whole story yet, but they messed up a biopsy on her child and didn't tell her, but she wanted a second opinion. So she requested her records. And they knew that they messed up the biopsy. So the minute she requested these records to take for a second opinion, they hotlined her for Munchausen by proxy. And that is showing up in so many of these stories.
Well, and did you know that on the way back from DC, when I'm getting vocal about this, DCF called me, the supervisor, stating that she's saying that I abuse my kids mentally because of my
your social media. I mean, that's like the line that we have.
I've never got it substantiated ever. And my ex called DCF on me every year. She's on speed dial, right? And then all of a sudden, I haven't seen my kids for a whole year, and I'm in DC exposing it. And then all of a sudden, you're abusing your children. How am I abusing my kids? I haven't seen them in a year because family court took them. So the retaliation. So that mother had retaliation,
and she didn't even know it. That's the craziest part. She
just by asking for her documents for her kid's child, her rights.
Not only has it become lucrative, that's money's usually at the end of all of these problems.
It is,
right? So not only has it become a lucrative arm for this hospital, but also now it's a way that they can cover their butts when they make mistakes, because mandated reporters have almost complete immunity. Like, you can't get
that's one thing I haven't talked about. This bill will take all that away.
Yes.
Have you looked at the federal bill?
I have not.
Girl,
I know.
I need you guys, because you guys don't know this, but Sarah pretty much represents parents that haven't been divorced, right? I represent parents that have been divorced, but we both agree that right now no child is safe with their parents. But this bill is a mom that's wrote it from Florida. She's Francesca. I've had her on a few times. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have her on here. Go to my website. Before you got on, I was telling everyone they have immunity, taken away immunity, body cam footage on all CPS DCF workers. You cannot take children away until it's due process, a full hearing. Right. I mean, this bill will save all of our children in every format way.
Yeah, I've watched your content with her, and I think it sounds amazing. Of course, my hesitations always with any government, anything is like, okay, who's sponsoring the bill? Like, does it have legs?
And here's the thing. I have had a lot of people. There's Robert Garza that is doing bills every state or state bills, right? Mm-hmm. Hers is federal. She just wants safety for our children. I've met her we prayed over the bill together because, and here's the thing. If it doesn't pass, to me, it's like, if it doesn't pass, guess what? We'll try again.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing behind her. There's no backing. It's just a mom that wrote this bill that studied and studied and wrote, and it didn't leave anything behind. From the immunity to, you can actually, if your kids are taken away like yours and they mess up, then they have to pay for everything, all your lawyer bills. They have to pay for therapy for your daughter and your son. They have to pay for all the expenses. But so the only reason I did partner with her, because there's no backing. It's not political. It's, she believes, if you're left or right, I don't care. We're talking about children.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. And so that's where I want to go in October and sit on the board with her in front of Congress. And I would love her to have a family like yours that sits there and says, look, right now, we don't have any rights, or even married couples don't have rights.
Right.
Because that's what we're going to do at the third week of October, is sit in front of all Congress, Senate and House, and present this and be at the table. And I think you have a great following. So I implore you. I would like Maya to come, the one in Florida that her mother passed because she was kidnapped from her mother.
Yeah.
I would love her to come. But by the way, when you sign up for Facebook, go do it today, because all you have to do, there's a button you can click on Instagram, and Instagram will automatically start sharing your videos that you've already posted on Instagram automatically to Facebook every day.
Yeah. I know, if I want.
And then anytime, you don't even have to log in. So when I didn't have Instagram, I had started on Facebook. What happened was my Instagram started blowing and I never went there. I didn't have time. So all of a sudden I go to Instagram 4 months. I didn't even checked it. And I knew Facebook was taking everything over there, right? Because it can go back and forth.
Right.
I go there and one of my videos had 4.4 million. I'm like, what? What? I was like,
that's a great place, yeah.
Well, it was funny though, because it was a video that someone looked a Megan Miller up in Tennessee that had multiple DUIs. So they were all like bashing me. It was so funny. But so yeah, it's not hard to do. You don't even have to check in over there. Once you have Instagram, it will constantly do it for you.
Yeah, I need to do that. I will do that. I've got it.
There's a lot of groups on there too.
I know. And I'm trying to organize our own protest locally right now in October at the hospital, because that's the month that my children were taken. And I think that Facebook would probably help. It's got more tools for trying to do.
And there's you can send things, you can send anything. You can have meetings in there now. Instagram has nothing features wise,
Yeah,
it is. You need to. And I think you should, and I'll help promote it. I mean, I just started my Facebook business one. And it has like 900 people, but my other one is 25,000.
Yeah.
On my profile one. So yeah, you should. And that was just built organically. So, well, thank you for coming on. You speak very well and you're so pretty and I love your dimples. And I pray that you get bigger and bigger. I want everyone to get big. I want all your people that lost their kids. I'm constantly trying to share their stuff too. Because I want all of us that have had our rights taken away, really broadcasted, saying, look, it can happen to anybody. I want everyone to get big.
Right. There's a way that we can start using our skills and sharing the skills that we have to make this a stronger mission. And, my fight's a little different than yours. I'm fighting these children's hospitals and false diagnosis of child abuse.
We're all fighting for children.
We're all fighting the same thing. And so I think, send anybody my way if you hear stories.
I'm constantly, guys, and if anyone that has Sarah's story, I'm tag her Sarah. And she's like, I already talked to her. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I love it. We have this thing.
I know, it's perfect. I'm sending
people. We've never even met face to face.
I know. That needs to happen soon. That'll be. I know
we will. We'll do that. Maybe when at let me know about your rally in October.
I will.
I will totally show up and be there. So.
Thank you.
Awesome. Oh yeah, if you can look at the bill, it's on my website. Just go to the federal bill and I spell it down for you.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. I'll talk to you later, girl. See ya.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.